Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today is Daily December, day number 4, and we're going to be looking at a very big and frequently fan-requested idea from the MCC community, which is MCC Draft. Right now we're looking at a Joe Bart VOD from MineDraft, or I think this is called Underground, which it's just MineDraft, but with a different, twist, I guess. If you guys don't know what MineDraft is, I will explain right now. This is also what MCC Draft means, so if anyone doesn't know yet, I will explain. MCC Draft essentially means that all 40 players that will be participating in the event are not put on a team, but are individually put in a bracket from which captains will pick their next player, and every bracket is tiered. So you could have an S tier bracket that has like Purple, then Fire Breath Man, etc. And you could have like a different bracket that has like, say like Erit and frickin' Snifferish, etc. type of, there's tiered brackets for different skill levels, and from there people pick their players. It's strategic to form your team from the players that are picked, and it's pretty fun. I have played in one MineDraft before, and it was one of my favorite events to play in. This was when I was still relatively small as a creator, so it was just really cool to get to meet up a couple of people. But that was that. So here's the EVNT page. EVNT is the people that host MineDraft. As you can see here, there's captains. There's another image that has 4 other captains, but there's 8 captains who are relatively similar in skill level. And then there's a tier for the lowest tier players that they pick from, as you can see on the screen. Then there's the second lowest tier with this variety of people. There was some balancing concerns for this event, but we'll ignore that. This would be the mid-tier players, I guess, for the team. And then the S tiers that were selected, for this team. These were teams of 5, and it was 8 teams, so it was 40 players. MCC obviously has 10 teams of 4, so we will adjust. But from all these picks, this was the resulting roster. This might be a little bit difficult to read. Why is this so loud? Oh my god, hello. Let's try to zoom in a little bit. You get some interesting combinations, maybe some familiar combinations as well, from just, people picking their friends or people picking who they think are the best players. If you look at Green is a very prime good example of a team that just formed from picking like some of the better picks that were available, because Antfrost, obviously being a very strategic player, just picked the right people, and they ended up winning. So, I guess good job. But yeah, you get this type of situation. And now let's look at MCC, because this is what we're talking about. First, let's talk about, do I think it's possible that MCC Draft would happen? I think it's possible on paper, which means if they really wanted to, they could. Do I think they will? No, probably not. Unfortunately, for some of you who have been requesting it. It doesn't seem like the Noxer or MCC or whoever is involved really necessarily go for the fan pick type of event. And this isn't really a type of event that would be too unique, because the one gimmick is at the start, and then the rest of the event, the gimmick is gone. Whereas for MCC events, usually the gimmick continues throughout the event. For example, something like a Scuffed, it's not as if just the first game was Scuffed, or that only the intro was Scuffed. The entire event is Scuffed. And for Draft, you can't really work out a draft element or work it into MCC without making it kind of feel pointless. Because after the first 10 minutes where everyone picks their players, it no longer has that value of being unique, because it's just going to be a regular event after that, probably. They could maybe incorporate this element into something else for a type of MCC event, but I'm not sure exactly how that would play out. Maybe if they do like a super competitive MCC where they like add an element of sweatiness to the event for some reason. I don't think they will. Then maybe they could add the draft element, but I don't think they actually will. Regardless, this is what I, drafted up. Don't look into this too much. I'm not trying to put people in tiers based on their skill level. I'm just trying to put it in the way that a draft event would work, which is another issue. You'd essentially make a tier list for players, and obviously a lot of the players don't like that. You'd have 10 people in every category, and you'd have 4 categories because it's teams of 4, which does mean that your balancing can be a little bit skewed, because obviously you have less players to work with on a team. So that means if you get one really valuable player, the value of that player will be very high because, compared to other picks, they may be a lot better. But regardless, let me also explain how the drafting process would work in case you don't know. Every captain would get seeded, which is a term in tier in brackets. I guess it's hard to explain without in tournaments. Which means you could get the 1 spot or the 10 spot first, so which means you get to pick first or you get to pick last. But what happens is it's called a snake draft. The order in which people pick per round flips, which means that hypothetically in this situation, if Scott were to be the seed number 1, they start at the bottom, which means, Scott picks a player, it probably picks Shelby, so that means Scott and Shelby are on the same team. But then the next round where they have to pick from the yellow tier, the B tier, Scott would pick last, in which case, I don't know who would be left at the end, but whoever's left at the end would be Scott's pick. And then for the following round after, the final round, which would be the S tiers, Scott gets to pick first, and he probably picks like Shane or something, right? So that's how that would play out. Let me know what you guys think of a potential MCC draft event. I think it could be interesting, but they need an extra element for it to work. I think just doing a drafting process doesn't really add that much value to the MCC event itself, and I don't think it would be worth the non-canon slot over something like an MCC Party or an MCC Scuffed or an MCC whatever, right? Even an MCC Rising. I think those events bring more value to the table than something like MCC Draft. Let me know what you think. And yeah, tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to be doing, but tomorrow is day 5. This is day 4 of MCC, Daily December on Wolfeei Belt. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.